President Trump's war against social media in general, and Twitter in particular, is reaching new heights tonight. Chief White House correspondent John Roberts is here to tell us about it. Good evening, John.
Good evening to you, Brett. For many, many years now, President Trump has used Twitter as a forum to go to war with his critics and opponents. But tonight, the president is at war with Twitter itself. President Trump didn't stop to talk as he headed to Cape Canaveral, but he did leave behind a slew of tweets, mostly aimed at Twitter for fact-checking what he tweeted yesterday about the potential for fraud with mail-in voting. President Trump writing, "Twitter has now shown that everything we have been saying about them and their other compatriots is correct. Big action to follow." Twitter defended the fact check, the first ever of a Trump tweet, in a statement saying these tweets contain potentially misleading information about voting processes and have been labeled to provide additional context around mail-in ballots. This decision is in line with the approach we shared earlier this month. The president and White House officials insisting it was part of a broader effort by social media platforms to silence conservative voices. President Trump threatening, "We will strongly regulate or close them down before we can ever allow this to happen."
Twitter cannot suppress voices. Conservatives, for a very long time, have felt social media could give them the voice that they don't have in mainstream media.
At the Kennedy Space Center, President Trump got a look at the new Orion space capsule designed to take astronauts back to the moon and praising new developments since the final shuttle launch back in 2011.
It is such a great achievement for our country, and our country's #1 again.
Before leaving Washington, President Trump met at the White House with New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. Cuomo has had his disagreements with President Trump, most recently over the disastrous situation with coronavirus and New York nursing homes, which Cuomo blamed on the Trump administration.
Our State Department of Health followed the same guideline as the CDC, which is a federal agency, issued.
But today's meeting was mostly about shovel-ready infrastructure projects, like the long-stalled Gateway Tunnel rail link between Manhattan and New Jersey.
I think he understands that these are projects that need to be done. I have a shovel in the trunk of my car. We'll start this afternoon.
While President Trump has promoted a massive infrastructure investment as part of a Phase 4 stimulus, there was no word from the White House today on Cuomo's request. The president does remain focused on reopenings, tweeting, "We passed 15 million tests today, by far the most in the world. Open safely." Yesterday, President Trump gave North Carolina's Governor Roy Cooper 1 week to prove that his state is open enough that it can successfully host the Republican National Convention at the end of August, or the RNC may take the convention somewhere else. Well, the state fired back at the president and the RNC, the state health secretary saying that it's up to the RNC to prove it has a plan to safely hold a convention with 50,000 people before the state signs off on whether it's ready to host it. We're at a stalemate right now, Brett. We should also point out that even though the launch today was scrubbed, the president and the vice president will be heading back to Cape Canaveral on Saturday for what hopefully will be a successful launch of the Crew Dragon spacecraft. Brett?
Let's hope. John Roberts live on the North Lawn. John, thanks.